This is from an episode of Funky Friday. This is Cam Newton's podcast. All right. And he was having a conversation with Dr. Bryant. And I didn't notice, but I found this out when I was watching the interview between Cam Newton and Kirk Franklin. I don't know if y'all remember, we reacted to that interview maybe last week, a couple weeks ago. And during that interview with Kirk Franklin, Cam Newton was essentially saying that he was a Christian and that he believed in Jesus. He grew up in the church and all this type of stuff, which I think is great, but I had no idea. I had no idea. I don't know. Maybe I'm just judgmental, but I feel like when you have a relationship with Jesus and when you have a platform to the level that he has a platform, and maybe I just missed it, maybe I'm just blind. I just feel like those type of things would pour out of you more, you know? The fact that you have a relationship with Christ, the fact that you're a Christian, the fact that you love Jesus and that you want to follow in his footsteps in terms of trying to be obedient and seeking his will. I feel like those things would pour out of you more, especially when you have a platform of millions of people who are looking up to you. And maybe I'm just blind. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm judgmental. Maybe I'm hating. I don't know. But I ain't seen too much of it. So with that in mind, he has a conversation with Dr. Bryant. And they get into this whole conversation about low functioning men. And essentially what Dr. Bryant says is that Cam Newton is a high value man due to the fact that, you know, he's a multimillionaire. This dude has made, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe not hundreds, but at least $100 million. Before taxes and fees and agents and splits, let's just say he deposited, and I'm really pocket watching. Let's just say he deposited $40 million into his account. Now, I understand that's not the only metric when it comes to a quote unquote high value man. But in this world, in this society, that's the majority of what people would consider to be a high value man is you're earning how much you make, your influence, stuff like that, right? So Dr. Bryant says he's a high value man, but at the same time, he's low functioning because he's creating all these broken homes. I didn't even notice. I knew he had a lot of kids. He has 8 kids, right? He has 8 kids by 3 different baby mamas. Let's just get into the video because I have a lot to say. All right. Let's get to it. Let me change some things up real quick. Hold on. Let's get to it.
Heck yeah.
So I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
by how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now.
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I just want God
about
to
your
bring
wife?
him. I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay. And
I just want God to bring him. I'm sorry. It takes me a second to when I first start stream, it takes me a second to learn how to act. I'm sorry. But he said, I just want God to bring him. I just want God to bring him. You got three baby mamas. Listen, I did not do things the right way. Many of y'all know that. Many of y'all don't know this. I did not do things the right way. I, in fact, have a baby mama. I did not do things the right way. I was young. We were dating. My girlfriend got pregnant, right? We didn't end up getting married. We have a beautiful daughter from that relationship, right? Now I am married and I created a broken home, a broken household. I created a situation where we're co-parenting. I created a situation where it's a blended family, and that's all on me, right? I'm not trying to have this conversation from the standpoint of I'm better than him, but the fact that he said that he still wants more baby mamas when you already have 3 and 8. You're already 3 and 8 and you want more baby mamas. And he doesn't recognize that as being a problem is absolutely mind blowing. And then to go back and say that he just wants God to bring him as if God is approving of this lifestyle that he's living. I don't understand. People get some money and he's experienced a lot of money in his life. He's experienced money that most people will probably never experience here on earth from a wealth standpoint. I don't understand why these individuals in these positions lose their freaking mind when they get a check. I don't get it. Let's continue.
Because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you would say it, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent. They are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies because I can't wait to be a mom and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time.
Oh my gosh. Coco. Oh my gosh. Coco, I thought you said, why doesn't he abort? I looked at it like at the side of my eye. I thought it said, why doesn't he abort? Oh my gosh. Coco, you don't scare me for a second. Oh snap. That's a good question. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Because at this point, he already has 8 kids. He 3 and 8, right? He already 3 and 8. If you want more kids, and if this is an individual this is an individual who's a Christian, right? A lot of y'all get upset with me when I say like, oh, this person's a Christian, and you're like, oh, but I don't think they are. Like, but what am I supposed to say? Like, he said he was. You know what I'm saying? So if this person's a Christian, you got 8. It's cool. Have as many kids as you want. But like, yeah, when you got a little bit of bread like that, you got a little bit of money like that, I wonder if adoption ever comes into your mind. I feel like at some point it should. You know what's crazy? I never really thought like in my life, it would be a blessing to be able to adopt a baby. It would really be a blessing. It really would be. Now y'all got me thinking about adopting. Let's continue.
You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I am going to create these homes. Oh, let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody who you're spending your life with. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and it's selfish.
Just tell me when I can talk.
Yeah, almost. That's completely
He said, just tell me when I can talk. Hold on. I seen a comment. Well, you gotta explain this comment, please, bro. You said not judging Cam, he can support them. That would be cool to have women wanting babies like that. How far? We're not even 25 minutes into the stream. You're gonna have to further explain this comment. You gonna make me crash out. We haven't even had 25 minutes of a stream before y'all gonna start making me lose my mind here. You give me a little bit more context as to what you mean, because I don't want to prejudge your comment and really go crazy. So let me know a little more about what you're talking about, because off a first read, are you saying it's okay what he's doing because he has money and he has bread and that makes it okay? You need to elaborate, please.
Unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy. And it's a huge dysfunction within our Black community that I truly believe personally, statistically, mental health wise, and community wise, that Black men would stop.
Black men would what?
Stop doing that. That they would stop that dysfunctional behavior of compartmentalizing and creating houses, not homes, and then finally.
Okay, so you just want me to crash out, is what you say it is. You just want me to crash out. Okay. Are you a believer though? Are you a believer? You believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Is Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior? Do you have your faith in Jesus Christ? I need to know that before we continue this conversation. So go ahead and type it, and then we can get back to it.
A home with a wife, and then you have all these other houses that are homeless, but you over here at some point when you do get a wife, if you do, I'm saying if that's what you want, you will, you get whatever you want. You're trying to create a home. Totally dysfunctional and extremely, that's the epitome of selfish. I'm done, you can go for it.
Okay, Silas. All right, so what identifies as a broken home?
What you have going on with whoever you're not in the house with is a broken home. It's called a blended family. It's called a blended family.
That means?
That the family is blended. So blended
means broken?
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy that you were entertaining, you would go as low as 26.
That I would entertain?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And as high as what age?
Whatever man that doesn't have kids.
As high as?
Whoever doesn't have kids, whatever age he is with no kids.
I just.
No, that's the age. I'm saying I don't have an age range.
Bro, okay. Please. Okay. Please. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Listen. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay. Okay. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay, wait. Okay. Okay. So he has money, a lot of money. He can support 20 kids for a lifetime. Millions of dollars. Millions and millions of dollars, right? He already has 3 baby mamas, 8 kids, right? Okay. Let's say he goes full. How many kids does Nick Cannon have? Let's say he goes full Nick Cannon, right? I don't know how many kids Nick Cannon has, but let's say he gets 10 baby mamas and 20 kids. Do you understand? It is impossible for him to truly lead that many households. Yes, he may be a monetary provider and he might have income that can sustain it, but from a spiritual standpoint, it is impossible for him to spiritually lead that many households. It's impossible. It's impossible for him to be a meaningful father in the lives of his children when you have created that many broken homes. And this is not even on some like, we can just look at the world, look at the statistics. We know, statistically speaking, the most successful environment for children is to have both mom and dad in the house in a healthy marriage. We know, statistically speaking, that's what the world says. That's what the world says. Statistically speaking, that's what the world says, right? That's what the world says. We understand that God does not endorse this lifestyle of sleeping around. Just because you have the ability to and have the finances, we understand that God does not endorse that lifestyle. Look at King Solomon. King Solomon, the richest individual who will ever live. The richest individual who will ever live. He had the resources to support the lifestyle that he was living. 100 wives and concubines. Lord knows how many children. He had the resources to support it. God allowed that situation to happen with King Solomon, but he wasn't okay with it because that came with consequences. And ultimately, King Solomon, his kingdom was divided. His kingdom was divided. And even in the book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, he said all of it was vanity. It didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything because there's going to come a point in time when we are all going to have to face judgment for our deeds. It's going to come a point in time. So you're saying, yeah, it would be fun. It would be cool. I'm sure there's an element of fun when you go to the club from the standpoint of Cam Newton. When you go to the club, I'm sure there's an element of fun when Cam Newton can probably just go up to pretty much whoever he wants and just say anything. And chances are the woman in question that he's speaking to is probably going to fall for Cam Newton because he's Cam Newton. I'm sure his rejection rate is very low. I'm sure there's an element of fun in that. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's an element of fun of being able to fulfill any and all of your wicked, perverted sexual desires at your pleasing. I'm sure there's an element of fun in fake playing like you're some type of pimp. I'm sure there's an element of fun. But if we're believers, if we're Christians, are we simply led by fun? Are we led by our flesh? Or are we led by God? Because this type of behavior is not going to raise up children with a proper example of what a healthy relationship looks like. This type of behavior is not going to raise up children with a fear and a reverence of God. This type of behavior is only going to create more broken homes and more baby mamas and more generational curses. This type of behavior can only lead to destruction and division. That's it. That's it. That's it. And when you have money like he has money, you're blinded to that because that money becomes your God. Your status becomes your God. You become your own God. You start to worship yourself. I'm Cam Newton. I could poll anybody that I want to poll. I can slide in whatever DM. Chances are the chances are the chances, if you know what I mean. You start to idolize yourself and you lose sight of God. Not only are you losing sight of God in this situation, but you're losing sight of your children. Because you already have 3 baby mamas, you already have 8 kids, and you're actively saying that you want more baby mamas. So you want to create even more confusion in the lives of your children. You want to have even more women in and out of the lives of your children. Even more confusion. It's selfish. It's not of God. So yeah, it might be fun, but none of this is a true representation of what marriage from a biblical standpoint should look like.
As far as how old, if he has no kids.
So your non-negotiable is a person who does not have children.
They go on this conversation, this little back and forth for a little bit, but then they get back on track. All right. So hang in there. I think he got a little bit offended. And so he's trying to come at her, but then they get back on track.
My non-negotiable is a person with kids, but yes, I get how you're saying it. Yes.
So you cannot date a person. You cannot be with a person.
I can, but I'm choosing not to.
So
I can be with anyone, but I'm choosing not to. I gotta correct it. It's my narrative, Cam.
You're like jumping in, jumping out. It's either.
Cam. No, it's not I can't. There's no such thing. I can date whoever I want. I am definitely well equipped to do so. Okay. So I'm not going to allow that word to be something that fits what I can't do. I'm well equipped to date anybody. Yes. My preference, because there's nothing wrong with a lot of men who have kids, so I don't want to put that narrative out there. Yes. My personal preference is I would not choose to date a man with kids.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're dating a man with kids. Just a scenario.
Okay, got it. Yes.
You're dating a man with kids.
Yes.
So you've identified that that's a broken home from the jump with your verbiage of blended family means broken.
I've identified that I'm dating a broken man who is creating who he is, because we could teach what we know, we create who we are. And so broken people create brokenness, whether it's...
The dress is a little much, you're correct.
Through a child, whether it's through a relationship, whether it's through themselves. It doesn't have to be a beautiful baby, but you're creating brokenness. And broken people can come from married households. I'm not saying that a two-parent household can't create the result of a child who then has brokenness and creates broken blended families everywhere. I'm not negating that.
That's not my point.
No, I know I'm making that point. But yes.
But my point.
My answer is I not only identify that those homes.
Yeah, okay, first off. Y'all getting a little unhinged in the comments. I'm going to say that right now. Y'all getting a little unhinged in the comments. I don't know what type of community you think that this is that we're growing here, but y'all getting a little unhinged and in your flesh in the comments. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all, some of y'all need to repent in the comments and go to God and make sure your heart is pure and ask him to give you a pure heart, just like David said. Create in me a pure heart, oh Lord. Some of y'all need that, myself included, but some of y'all in the comments, y'all need that. All right. Second off, you said that she's just as dysfunctional as he is. Bruh, we are all dysfunctional. Are we not? Is that not why we need a savior? Because we screwed it up. We had it perfectly. God designed it perfectly. And we screwed it up. We're all dysfunctional. But the fact of the matter is, this man ain't living right. And listen, nobody's living completely right. But the point is, we should have the awareness to understand when we're tripping. We should have the awareness to understand when we need to reevaluate our life and when we need to reevaluate the posture of our heart. Is it more aligned towards the world, or is it more aligned towards God? We need to have that awareness. We're all going to be involved in some stuff that we shouldn't be involved in. It's going to happen. We're humans. We're prone to sin. We're living in a sinful world that is only getting increasingly more sinful as the days go on. But we have to be able to discern and identify when we're tripping and when we need to repent and turn the other way.
Our house is without a home because he's not in them.
Yeah.
But also that he's a broken man.
But you're going to be with a broken man.
No, I won't. I just said I wouldn't be with a man. I wouldn't be with a broken man who has multiple kids. I would
No, not multiple. I'm talking
a kid. It doesn't matter.
So you're not going to date a man with children.
No, but let me clear this up because you said I won't date a broken man. That's not what I said.
No, I said, listen to what I'm saying.
I heard you. Let me answer it. Hold on. We all have a level of brokenness. So will I date a broken man? Yes. Am I going to date a certain type of brokenness? No.
Of course you're not.
And that type of brokenness is a man who has kids outside of me isn't something that's conducive for what I want forever.
But will you date him?
No.
So that goes to my point. I'm trying to ask a question. You have two.
how's the quality of the stream? Because YouTube is sending me messages saying that the stream quality is poor for whatever reason. So let me know how it is. Type of 1 if it's good, type of 2 if it's not good.
Different men right here. One man who has...
I will not date a man with kids.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Yes. I will
but
not.
Do you understand, just off of the statistics?
Here we go. Go ahead and be a statistic and say it, because I hear it all the time. And
What?
Say it.
You say what you're saying, and I'm going to either...
Based on statistics, most men have kids. Go for it.
At your age.
But that's why I said early on, Cam, when you said young and remember the patience of me being older woman, I said, well, for, a woman who has certain qualifications or criterions, like no kids, that would be, I have to have enough brain cells to know, baby, that's the payoff. Okay, he may be younger, successful, no kids, but now you have to make sure you implement the patience. Or you get you an older man who has kids, and he could have been married with his kids. There's a lot of different scenarios why men have kids, okay? But then you don't have to have as much patience with him as maturity-wise. But do you want to have patience to say, and it's not even dealing with, because that's not bad, you want to have enough patience to gut the fact that you are dating a man with young kids or grown kids, and that's against what you want, your value system. For me, I rather choose the poison of, I'll have patience with you, baby. We'll just have to figure this out, and I'm cool with that, and we'll have a good time in the meantime. Then I know that you have kids. It's against something I never wanted as a child. And now, if you have young kids, I'm going to be very involved because I'm a loving woman.
Y'all, I don't think she hates kids. That's not the vibe I'm getting. I don't think she hates kids. I just don't think she wants to be in a situation where she's a part of a broken home. I just don't think she wants to be in that situation. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that means she hates kids. I think she just has awareness to know what she wants and what she doesn't want. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why y'all saying she hates kids.
Never going to take.
But you're giving a scenario that you're saying
that wouldn't do. Right, and those are the reasons why I wouldn't do them.
For sure.
Because I'm going to be involved, right? I'm never going to be a woman who's not.
But I must defend this situation. I have 8 children. And
8 beautiful babies.
I will not. No baby mother of mine could ever say that she's a single mother, because single mother insinuates that she has no help. So for me in my situation, life be lifing. That's a common.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
Yeah, but if she ain't married and you ain't with her, then she a single mother, is she not? Because you're not in the household. You're not in the household on a daily basis. You might support her with money, but you ain't there on a daily basis. So I understand what he's saying, but there's an argument on both sides.
And my situation is a product of life happening. So,
and none of us are exempt from it.
Of course.
Right.
So we have preferences.
100%.
We have things that we could say, okay, I would love to do this.
Right.
I'm raised in a church, so my father would always direct us to say, hey, be this, be that, be that, be this.
Right.
But I can also tell my father this, your reality is not my reality.
100%.
You walking into 7-Eleven is different than your son walking into 7-Eleven.
Sorry.
Makes sense to you. So I can agree with you, and we can agree to disagree, that I'm not creating broken homes. I'm doing the best with the situation that I was given. And
he pretty much saying he got thrown. This is what he's saying. For those of you who don't understand, he's got so much thrown at him on a daily basis. And when I say so much, I mean he got so many women just throwing and jumping off the roof at him on a daily basis that he's doing the best that he can do by not impregnating all of them at the same time. He's just taking a select few to focus on and getting them pregnant and creating those broken homes as opposed to all of them, 100% of them. He's only taking a smaller percentage. That's what he's saying. That's crazy. Have we not learned any type of self-control or discipline? And I know this man has discipline. I know he has self-control. You can't make it to the top of your profession without having discipline, without having self-control. You're choosing to be out of control. You're choosing to be undisciplined in this area of your life. And it probably has to do with the fact that you have a lust issue. That's probably what it boils down to. Because there's a lot of men who have a lot of options. And I'm sorry for that graphic description, previously. There's a lot of men who have a lot of options who remain faithful to their wife despite all the options that they have. You have to choose. You have to make the decision to be disciplined. If you just allow your flesh to be your flesh, it's going to take you into some situations that you shouldn't be in. And then you're going to look back 10, 20, 30 years later like, dang, I really did all that. I really, you know what I'm saying? I really, with her and her, all of that, dang. It's going to take you into some situations that were never meant for you. If you are sheerly led by your flesh, you are going to end up in some situations that were never meant for you. And guess what? You got to deal with those consequences. And he might not be feeling the consequences today. Maybe he is, because there's always a certain amount of drama when you're in this type of dynamic. But maybe he's not feeling the full extent of these consequences today. But at some point in time, these fruits that the seeds that he's sowing, the fruit it's going to show at some point in time. And as I said, I don't say this from a standpoint of being judgmental. I don't say this from a standpoint, or maybe I do. I don't know. I don't say this from a standpoint of being like hypocritical, because I myself, as I said, I created a situation. I created a broken home. I created a blended family. I did that. I created that. Right. So I just don't understand. And I understand. And I spent a lot of time, and I still go through some stuff. Like I still get depressed. I still go through a lot mentally as it relates to that situation, because it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. I still go through a lot. So it's crazy to hear him and his perspective on it, and the fact that he wants to do that even more. It's just, it's mind blowing. It's crazy.
Given. So, hands-on father? Absolutely. I don't subscribe to just bringing fatherless children or motherless children into this world. I have an unbelievable relationship with the mothers of my children. And it's healthy co-parenting that we show the children real love, real communication, real orders of operations. And I think that's key, because even though we have this unspoken societal pressure to do this and be this, but that's a unicorn that you're waiting for. Because if I'm sitting up here telling you like, yo, I have aspirations to have this, but my experiences have shown me that that person really doesn't exist. So when I'm asking or I'm asked questions of, is the expectations unrealistic?
Right.
Because my reality has garnered unbelievable connections with women around the world. Not in Africa. I haven't been in Africa, right? But at the same time, I've been able to make the best of my situation. And I can't say that situation ever resulted into a broken home.
Got it.
Yeah, just because you have connections with women all around the world doesn't mean you have to sleep with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, this argument is so stupid. I don't get it. Like, oh, I'm famous, I'm a celebrity, and this is the level of temptation that I'm up against, and I'm doing the best that I can. But you're saying that you are still striving to have more children and to get more women pregnant and not marry them. You're still saying that you are still wanting to be a participant in this still, even after you identify that you have more. And yes, he does have more temptation than the average man. He does. By a lot. Right? So he's correct. He's correct. He's up against more temptation than the average man. Good job. He identified that. Beautiful. Okay. So now what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to say, well, I got to give into it every now and again, and I'm doing good compared to so-and-so, I'm doing good. No. What are we really going to do about it? What type of discipline are we going to instill into our life? Are we like, and to say, I don't understand how people say like, oh, the right woman is not out there for me. I don't understand how people can say that. You have unrealistic expectations. your expectations of what that person is going to look like, what they're going to do for a living, your expectations are unrealistic. God has somebody out there for you. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe God doesn't have somebody out there for you. Maybe you're just meant to be like a Paul and just devote your entire life to God and devote yourself fully to ministry and to advancing the kingdom. Maybe you're destined to just be single. That's a real possibility. That's a real option, but that's very, 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 very rare. And chances are you probably don't fall into that category. You might, but for the majority of us, your person is out there. God has the person out there for you. You're just looking at it from a worldly perspective. I'm sure there's plenty of women that Cam Newton could settle down with and could marry, and he would be happy. But he's going to have to learn how to deal with that lust problem, just like all of us. And it's funny because so many people think like, oh, the moment I get married, that lust problem is going to go away. That's not the case. You're still going to have to deal with it. Now you got to have to deal with it as you're married. Like, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We're not supposed to be just running through women like this and just creating broken homes just whenever we please. We're not supposed to be living like that. We're not supposed to be living like that.
So this is my thing. You can label it whatever your her ego needs it to be labeled so that you feel good about your choices. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, a family consists of a dynamic, and that dynamic consists of two parents and a child. And when you start to create that multiple times, that's called a blended family. Mm-hmm. And when there's somebody missing from the home, but they are the school daddy, meaning I pick them up or drop them off to school, or they are the sports mother or father, I come to the games, but they're not the, I wake up and go to sleep with my kids. That household now is broken by the, by the family dynamic. That does not mean,
You're not describing me.
That does not mean, Cam, that you are not a dynamic father. That does not mean that you don't have a great relationship with him. I'm talking about the political construct of a family.
Societal construct, political construct.
If you want to, that's what I'm saying. If you want to call it that, that's fine. But listen.
Those things that you
whatever we label it doesn't change our decisions, though.
That's what I'm trying to, that's what you don't understand.
So all of your baby mamas live in one house?
No, they do not. But my children stay with me.
So then it's still a broken house. So the mothers aren't in your home. So it doesn't make a difference.
But that's making the best of the situation.
Right. Listen, and let me say this. That part, I agree with. Mm-hmm. That part, I admire in you.
Okay.
That part, I think is amazing.
Right.
Cam, look at me. That part, I say thank you for being a man who's vertical, who stood up and dealt with his decisions, whether it was decisions you liked or you didn't, or you planned or you didn't, and you did what you had to do. That's called a man, baby. So thank you for being a man.
Yes, ma'am.
And doing your thing, seriously, with the best that you have. I think that's
there's a lot of ego stroking that she got to do to get through this conversation. Hey, Slickback, you was late, bruh. What's up, Slickback?
Amazing.
Right.
And again, I say this, follow up, not to negate everything I just said, because I truly believe that and feel that. And I love that you did that. You did leave them fatherless. My father did leave me fatherless. It changed my life because he did leave me fatherless. I used to sit with him randomly and say, Daddy, thank you. For what? For not making me a fatherless little girl. Because I ain't out here desperate. And I got a daddy I can come home and nest in. I got a daddy I can come home who's a gangster, a street dude. I can make a phone call and you there. And you there. So I ain't looking for no street, excuse my language, to save me. I got my savior. I'm good. And the street dude to save me may crucify me. I'm good. Daddy ain't gonna crucify me. See, there's a difference. So with you, I'm saying thank you, because my father has 6 of us by 5 different women, but he was a father. And so when you say, Doc, but I'm a daddy, don't negate that. I hear you more than you believe me hear you, because I had a daddy who was a father. And he wasn't in the house with all of us. But from a woman who was a little girl who had the best daddy I've seen a girl have straight up to this day. Am I saying you ain't? But that's my daddy. I wasn't in the house with him. So the things that whoever he was in the house with, that environment is different from me coming over and seeing it. Now, For your babies, they all live with you. Their environment is different from when they go with mommy and mommy has whoever's in that house. So the roles have just switched, but it still makes, not the kids, hear me out, it still makes the household dynamic is a blended, broken household. It doesn't mean that your babies have to grow up broken. This is what I want to be clear on. It doesn't mean that you as a father can change their life. Listen, I beat the odds of being a baby mama because I had a daddy that wasn't in the house, but he was in my life, he was in my ear, he was in my about decisions. So this is why I'm saying the household, baby, is still broken, but it doesn't mean your kids have to be. But it's about coming into awareness of what really is. And like my father knew, he had blended families, broken homes, but he tried to overcompensate, and he did in every way he could by being a daddy. So that's all I'm saying is we can label it what we want, but the reality is this is what a blended family looks like, unless you're telling me it's polyamorous, and you're not. This is what a broken household looks like. Now, let me go further. Do broken households make for good people? You damn right. I'm not a statistic. I ain't perfect. I work through my stuff. I come from the inner city of the hood. I'm a product of teenage parents, a dope dealer and an addict who is now sober and killing. And my mom was a VP of my company, runs everything, got her own business. And I'm a doctor. So people like me come from situations like that. So I'm always advocate for it, but I'm always keep it real about what it is. Because in order for us to take it and heal it and do something with it, we got to call a damn duck a duck so we know where to put it, what to feed it, how to do it, and what it needs. We can't be in this society as black people and want to give things different words so that it makes us feel better about our decision. The decision is made. It is a broken home. It is a blended family. And now what are we going to do with these beautiful babies? So that your son, you got boys? I'm guessing out of 8, you got to have some boys. So that your boys make different and better decisions than daddy did. Not that you didn't do the best of what you had, but so your boys can say, Daddy, I admire you, but I did it different. Daddy, thank you for not letting me be fatherless, but I did it different. Your daughter can say, Daddy, I only married him and got all 5 kids with just one because 2 things, you was in my life, and because I didn't have to choose from despair, and because I love you, but I didn't want to have 3 or 4 or 5 kids by multiple men. So I chose different than you. But watch this. But he has these similarities about you that I love. He's loving. He won't leave me hanging. He's stable. He got my back. Because that's what I love about you. But your choices is what I didn't choose in this man. And that's okay. I don't choose my father in men who have the multiple kids. But I choose my daddy in men who are solid, who got my back, who love me unconditionally, who dote on me, and still treat me like his baby at 41. That's all I'm saying. So you're doing a hell of a job. Thank you. But the situation is what it is. It's the reality of it.
I can talk.
Yes.
Okay. Woo. Now.
Okay. I'm reading the chat. Despite what y'all might think, I'm looking at it. I'm reading the chat. Poetic Brain says, and I appreciate you for the super chat, $4.99. That's a big deal. I appreciate you. Not only that, but the possible resentment that will build up from the other households for not being considered the main one, quote unquote. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, children are children. They're kids. Their brains are still developing. Like, even through our early adulthood, our brains are still developing. You can't expect a child to be able to process the complexity of the situation that they're in when it's a blended situation. They can't process that. So of course there's going to be a lot of negative emotions that they're going to have to deal with and navigate with. And oftentimes they're dealing with it silently because they don't know how to communicate it. They don't know how to express it because they're kids. They don't have the words yet. They don't have the articulation yet. So you're right. You're right. Here's the thing. I think we all know this, right? 1 Kings 11:4. For when Solomon was old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not wholly unto the Lord, his God, as was the heart of David, his father, right? So I think a lot of people, they'll read the scriptures, and they'll see certain things like, oh, Solomon had all these wives, and that must have meant that God was okay with that, right? That's not necessarily the case. That's not the case. God wasn't okay with that. God actually specifically told Solomon not to do exactly what he did. not to have all of these different foreign women in his life. God specifically told Solomon not to do that. And Solomon, with all the wisdom that he had, disobeyed, right? And in turn, those women turned his heart away from God, right? I think the same thing could be said in this scenario with Cam Newton. You know, and I don't want to be too disrespectful, but at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, because I don't know the level of his relationship with God. I don't know. Obviously, it's at a very lukewarm state, but I don't know what he does in his private time. You know, I don't know. But at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, am I truly putting my kids first? Am I truly doing what's best for them? Am I truly seeking to provide for them, not only from a monetary standpoint, but am I truly seeking to provide from them in all aspects of their life, emotionally, spiritually, physically, just being there physically? And I know he said, oh, all my kids live with me. Okay, all your kids live with you. So that would imply that there's still an amount of time that they're away from their mother. So that does something to a child as well. These are all things that are very hard for children to process. And at the end of the day, it's an unnatural scenario that you're putting your children in. And that's going to have effects on you, on your children, on your relationship with God. If you continue to chase these women and allow these women to essentially give you some sort of thrill or joy or self-validation, the further you go down that road, the further away you're going to be from God when you stop and look back. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I thought it was interesting too, Ecclesiastes. So a lot of people believe Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes, right? Towards the end of Ecclesiastes, if it's not, it might have been the very end or towards the end of it. Solomon says, you know, in verse 8, this is Ecclesiastes 12:8. He says, vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. So even after experiencing all that he experienced in his life, all the quote unquote fun of all the different women, Solomon, you think about he tasted all the pleasure that there is to taste. If there was pleasure to get into, Solomon got into it. And he said, it's all vanity. Doesn't mean nothing. And he said, verse 13, the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil. So, you know, you might have fun. It might feel good while you're in it. But ultimately, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. Tabby, I appreciate you for the 999, Tabby. Thank you so much. She spoke no lies. He needed to hear that. He's building dysfunctional households. He needs to repent and turn to God. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I thought this was an interesting video to show. You know, I know some of y'all be thinking I just be showing stuff just because it's funny or for the entertainment. Like, I'm trying to show things because I feel like there's a lesson in it that we can, you know, kind of learn from. And you see these individuals at the top, quote unquote, from a societal standpoint, making all this money. And they're so misguided. He literally said, whatever God wants in terms of having more children and creating more broken homes, whatever God wants. He thinks that this is a part of God's will for his life. It's not. And it's so sad when you allow money to be your God. It's going to lead you down some wicked paths. So yeah, I mean, I hope he realizes, I hope he takes what she said to heart and really, you know, lets it sink in. And ultimately, I hope he just turns to God and repents and just gets right, you know?